We are here to talk the brutal ending of Daredevil Born Again, episode 3. Man, I hated the ending until I realized they had to write it this way. And I'm going to share that in a minute. But first, spoiler alert, guys, let's theorize. Do you think at the end, when somebody walks up and shoots White Tiger wearing a Punisher uniform, do you think it was really Punisher? This character was wearing a hood. I'm a little suspicious. What do you think?
No,
Nope.
Do you have theories on who it might have been?
I think he was ordered to do that by Fisk. You wear a Punisher uniform, it makes vigilantes look bad. There you go.
Okay, who do you think it was?
Some random dude.
Some random dude. My first suspect is Powell, but I'm not sure because it was his partner that got killed in the White Tiger scuffle at the subway. But Doug, you got any theories?
I'd say, yeah, I was going to say possibly the same thing because
Is that too obvious though?
I don't know. They gave that actor a pretty decent part in this one, so I can see him going on to be a bad guy for the next episode or two.
Yeah, he is a pretty good actor, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think I know in the comics, Fisk makes this anti-vigilante task force, and at some point he's going to have vigilantes in the comics hunting down. I don't know that it's in the Born Again comic, but they're going to be hunting down other vigilantes like Daredevil. So you can only be a vigilante if you're sanctioned, and they're basically like a special police force. And so that made me wonder if maybe some other vigilante was dressed up as Punisher. The hood is very suspicious. Like, why would Punisher wear a hood? I don't know. Why wear the shirt and a hood?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. It could be Bullseye back out.
Yeah.
He's not dead. So
yeah, and he's too famous of a character to put away in jail forever, right?
Right.
He's got to come back out.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, listeners, tell us in the comments who you think this may have been. I mean, was it actually Punisher? But I think that if you were Fisk and you were going to frame another vigilante to try to make your case that all vigilantes need to be outlawed, I think Punisher is the one you would go for because he's a rough guy anyways, right? He seems like he's a little bit maybe crazy, excessive force. So I feel like he would be one of the easiest vigilantes to set up and frame. So that's my bet. But I wonder if Daredevil is somehow, I mean, we don't know if anybody was there. There's got to be a camera around that caught this. I wonder if Daredevil is going to suspect it was actually Frank or if he'll be onto the possibility it was a framing. I don't know.
You got those dudes running around with the Punisher tattoos, right?
Yeah. Could have been any of them.
And they obviously, it could have been any one of them taking matters into their own hands because they still think that this guy killed a police officer or something. But Fisk is definitely behind it, 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did see another cop with a Punisher tattoo. Was that a Punisher tattoo on his neck in the courtroom? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think White Tiger was killed?
Because Fisk said that he can't allow vigilantes anymore, and this guy gets off free. And he even said, like, I ran on this promise and I have to keep it. So I'm going to eliminate vigilantes one way or another.
Okay. So you think Fisk is behind this and not necessarily Powell?
Yeah, I think it's Fisk.
Okay. Or it could have been both. Who knows? Wait, but we determined that Powell probably wouldn't like Fisk because Powell was pro Punisher, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it would seem odd if Fisk would be able to hire Powell to kill White Tiger.
Well, I could see a situation where, there are a certain group of cops that were, had the tattoos and everything, and they were taking matters into their own hands like they believe the Punisher does. Now that I think they're taking it a step further, it sounds like, but that's what they feel. So maybe in the matter of 2 minutes, but at some point he actually Fisk knew that this group was there. So he's like, let's go ahead and deputize them. And it's like, okay, you got this group of dirty cops basically, but you are trying to do good just like me. So let's work together and maybe he turned him loose on the White Tiger.
Okay, so maybe he pitched the idea, hey, we all have something in common. We're ticked off that Kel got killed in the subway incident.
Mhm.
So even though they're on separate sides, maybe they united over that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
So I can see something like that happening.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. So I have a storytelling theory as to why White Tiger had to die. We know from the producers that White Tiger is meant to kind of mirror Daredevil's struggle with his alter ego, right? His struggle with being Daredevil. Well, did you notice like White Tiger is he's kind of like Daredevil, but he's in the opposite place with being White Tiger. Like he calls it a calling. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but like a psychology might say that he's addicted to being White Tiger because in a previous episode, his family did not seem happy that he was doing this. And I thought, man, he just got acquitted. And it seems like that very night he puts the costume back on. And I thought, like, once people know you're White Tiger, they're going to be coming for you. So I figure somebody's going to have him in the crosshairs like immediately. He almost just like invites it on himself by going out. So I kind of theorize he was ideally supposed to get to the place where like he doesn't have to give up being White Tiger, but he's okay not being White Tiger. That's where Matt is, right? Because we know he's going to become Daredevil again, but he's okay not being Daredevil. That's like the healthier example. And I liked this White Tiger character a lot. I think he's a good guy. But I think the show's trying to say, like, okay, he neglected the people around him. He was kind of dangerous after his identity was exposed by going out. That's my theory. Like, he had to die because in storytelling, like he had this this sin of getting off the hook and then doing the same thing again. What do you think?
I'm not sure what message they're trying to put, but I can't remember. Does he have a daughter or a niece?
I think he has a daughter.
Okay.
I gotta be honest, I wasn't really paying attention to the.
I wouldn't either. I missed that part. But the young girl that was in the court with his wife, I think she ends up taking the White Tiger mask.
Oh, okay.
Moves
so
on.
There will be another.
Yeah, for some reason, I think I've read somewhere, and again, I'm just kind of theorizing here, but I think I saw somewhere where the young White Tiger, the female White Tiger, is going to be in Spider-Man 4.
Oh, okay. That would be
So
cool.
it's kind of a spoiler on that. Probably should have mentioned something beforehand, but
Man,
and again, that's just something I think I saw on TikTok or something like that. So
okay, so
who knows? It could be
just
totally
a
made
theory.
up, but but as for the message of why they killed him off like that, I don't know. I mean, I understand what you were saying. It's kind of a lesson learned where it's like, you know, you put your family in danger. Now everyone knows who you are. Now your family's in serious danger.
Mhm.
Maybe it's time to hang up the cowl, if you will. And
or at least lay low for a little bit.
Yeah.
But come back later.
Go back to Puerto Rico.
Yeah. I mean, because
I'm not saying
wife,
get out of the country, but you know, that's
Yeah.
where he's from. He was saying he missed that beach. He's got family down there. Maybe go back down and try to start again.
Yeah, yeah. And his wife seemed really unhappy that he was going out in the last episode. So I don't know. And like it's like he kind of ignores that, but then tries to buy her love back, maybe by getting her that apartment. But I didn't think about it until after because I just liked this character. He's just a good guy. And so here's a way I think he's supposed to mirror Matt. Look at this picture, right? So you see in the background there's a cross there. He is very similar to Daredevil in a lot of ways. The identity struggle. I mean, he's almost where Daredevil was with his identity in season 1 of the Netflix show because he was saying things similar to what White Tiger was saying, like he's God's avenging angel and he can't stop, he can never stop. So I think he's contrasted with Daredevil, but both characters have faith. So that's interesting. I mean, they're superheroes who are, I don't know if White Tiger is Catholic or Christian or what, but they are almost mirror images of each other and still both heroes.
Yeah, I think the main difference is White Tiger has the magic amulet. So
Yeah.
which could work interesting in with wherever White Tiger ends up going, because there are some magical characters in Marvel and some that still could be introduced. So there could be this whole magic, dark side of Marvel, bring in Blade and things like that. So
Yeah, it was interesting to see that in this show that's more grounded,
Mhm.
but they didn't
And
necessarily show any weird powers.
yeah, what I really liked is they introduced White Tiger. They said, here's his powers, go. We didn't have to go through a complicated backstory or anything like that. We didn't have to wait for the movie. You didn't have to see a movie to know what's going on. You didn't have to read the comics. You know that this is a guy who wears a White Tiger costume. He has a magic amulet and he kicks butt. That's all we need to know. That was great.
Yeah, this episode I thought was very well done. It was kind of like watching Law and Order, like a lot of courtroom drama stuff, which is pretty good. And yeah, so far, and I know it's building up to more stuff we're going to see. Like, Doug, so we haven't seen the magic. We haven't seen a lot of the superhero stuff like that. It's building that story. And I know it's getting to it, but it's doing a really good job of that. But part of me, though, is sitting there like watching this going, this is like watching Batman, but just the Bruce Wayne stuff. So like I'm kind of ready for some Daredevil here.
I didn't even feel like I haven't seen Daredevil yet, and then I realized towards the end, oh yeah, he hasn't been Daredevil since the intro to episode 1.
Right,
that's 3 whole episodes.
That's what I'm saying. It's like Superman, but just Clark Kent.
But it's still intense enough,
Yeah, no, it's yeah. I mean, yeah,
it's
they're telling the
building
story,
up.
which is fine. But it's like part of me is like,
it's coming out. So I got the impression he did not kill either of those cops at the end.
Yeah, I guess he did.
Episode 2, because we thought we heard like a neck crunch, and we were like, "Oh, he killed somebody."
He did kill the. Yeah.
No, the cops that
he fought.
Yeah,
they're not dead.
What's his name? That was the dirty cop.
Yeah.
He was talking about his partner and stuff.
Right.
Because they were talking about getting him in trouble for interfering with the police investigation. I'm like, wait, didn't he kill one of those guys? And so now it turns out they're both alive. So that was a little confusing.
There was definitely a neck snap.
And lots of blood.
No, yeah, it's absolutely there. I thought he killed them both because the other cop, he bashed his head on the table and you saw blood just.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, so he's dead too. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, no, they're right there.
I guess they're not. They're just really beat up. So. Yep. Oh, and before I forget, I mean, we wondered if White Tiger was killed off because the actor actually died. But I read today that this is actually the story they were going to tell before they knew he was dying. Like, he was sick on set and he was in pain, but he just wanted to keep going. And so this was the way, from my understanding, that the character was supposed to be written. He was always supposed to die at the end here. And I almost think it's supposed to be kind of like a caution for Matt, because Matt's going to have to get back to being Daredevil, but in a healthier place than he was in season 1. So that's kind of my thesis here.
Yeah.
There is another mystery that popped up again in this episode. So first episode, or maybe it was episode 2, we saw this. We saw Fisk with some bloody knuckles on the desk. And they showed it again in this episode. He grabs a mug of tea and his knuckles are all bloody again. Any idea? Any more theories on this?
Is it again or is it still? It's worse than the last time we saw it.
Is it? Okay.
It looked worse than the last time. I know. I'm still sticking with it that he's got a lot of pent up anger and he's taking it out on.
I'll be so mad if it's just like he's hitting a punching bag in his spare time.
I was gonna say maybe
it has to be
like
something
a wooden post
brutal.
or something.
I'm gonna be so mad if it's just nothing.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing that could be that would be busting up your knuckles like that.
It's just the New York air.
Yeah, punching through a wall somewhere, a brick wall, because he is overly powerful. At least in the comics, from what I know.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see him just in a back room somewhere. When he gets upset, he walks back there, and here in a few episodes, he turns the light on. There's just going to be holes all in the brick wall, and he walks over to a plain one, just starts beating it until beats a hole through it.
I'm still convinced it's like same old, same old. He's like shaking people down to get what he wants and like beating them up off screen. That's what I think. But it did cross my mind. This is a crazy theory that I don't think is possible. What if he's secretly a vigilante? He's like going down hunting all these other vigilantes.
It might be a little
The
bit of a stretch.
sumo.
Yeah. Oh, real quick, I do want to throw out the Spider-Man Easter egg. Since we're talking about the court scene, that there was a Spider-Man reference. And when he was going through a list of police officers who had filed reports in favor of White Tiger, one of the officers mentioned was Officer Morales. So I'm assuming that that's Miles Morales' dad, because he is a New York City police officer. So
yeah,
that was like a little Easter egg there for everybody.
The second Spider-Man Easter egg in the show so far, although this one was more obvious or less obvious. The last one he actually called out Spider-Man. Fisk did.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he did.
So on Matt's courtroom strategy, exposing White Tiger's identity like that, man, I didn't see that coming. Like, it seemed like Hector was pretty ticked off when that first happened. Do you think this was a good idea, or do you think this is going to have ramifications later in the season?
I think it was a good idea because it got the jury behind him, realizing of all the things that he had done to help the public. And it kind of confirms that he's out there helping people, he's not out to kill people, and how many people he saved. And I think it really got the jury on his side, because other than that, I think he was going to be guilty.
Yeah.
I was not a big fan of that part.
Oh, really?
I thought him getting off just because, look at all the good he did. I mean, I'm all for that, but what the prosecutor was saying is that it doesn't matter. There's no proof other than, we have a distinguished cop that states that he pushed his partner in front of a train. There's no other evidence saying otherwise.
Does it need to be corroborated, though? I mean, I guess, whatever the jury decides is what the jury decides. But since they only have a single witness, do you think that maybe, I mean, I don't know the law here, so I wondered if like an additional witness would be required, because like in ancient times you had to have two witnesses for things like this. So it wouldn't surprise me if we still had a law like this, because otherwise, I mean, it's just your word against somebody else's. If you only have a single witness, then man, a lot of people are going to get the death sentence or prison for life.
Yeah. It just seemed a little bit too easy. I would have liked to seen a better way. Him going back and talking to the other witness, the druggie, and talking him into coming back, or have a good heart-to-heart moment with him, change his mind. I would prefer that.
I would have liked that too.
Over everyone's like, yeah, we're behind you, vigilante, because I mean, they just voted in a mayor that is against vigilantism.
Yeah.
So you'd think most people would be leaning in the same way he is, and they just found out that this guy's a vigilante. Yes, he's doing good stuff, but he's still breaking the law. I mean,
it must have been won over by the stories then.
That's the only thing I can think of. It seemed a little unrealistic. I would love to live in a world like that.
Yeah. Well, I loved the examples that they showed. They had, I think the big thing that probably swayed the jury is they had so many cops who testified that White Tiger had saved them. I mean, the examples they gave were pretty compelling, pulling a whole family from a burning car. And so I loved what they did. But yes, I do. For tension, for story writing, it's great that they just had Matt pull this out on the fly. I mean, it was a shocker. In real life, I would have preferred that he asked hey, are you okay if we come out with this? Because it's probably the only way to save you. I mean, I would feel more comfortable doing that than just outing someone because I mean, like I said, yeah, you might get out of this courtroom, but are you going to get home alive? After
Yeah.
everybody knows who you are? Because I know, I read a lot of stories about people who work for big companies or famous people who, I mean, they can't tell anybody where they live because crazy people come after them or people try to hurt them. So I do not believe that White Tiger could keep working or living where he was living once his identity comes out. He's got to go somewhere where nobody knows who he is. And like, where is that these days? An island? I don't know.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, maybe.
Puerto Rico.
Or just out of New York. I mean, I don't know. Are people in Philadelphia keeping up with the vigilantes in New York?
I don't know. Yeah, go to another city and just
Go to
start
another
dressing
city
up
and
like
do it.
the Green Tiger.
Go
Right.
down to Orlando. There's never superheroes in Orlando.
Right.
Yeah, what superheroes from Orlando? Anyone? Yeah. Head
Yeah.
down there. It's warmer. The beach is
Swamp
only a couple
Thing is
hours
just-
away.
Is
Disney
Swamp
World right
Thing
there.
from Florida?
What's that?
Swamp Thing in Florida?
I don't know
Okay.
that's awesome.
Or is that the other studio? Is
Yeah,
that
somebody
DC?
tell us in the comments, where's Swamp Thing from?
The Swamp.
So there was kind of a callback, I thought, interestingly, with Matt. There's always a lot of stuff in these episodes about Matt and his faith. But when he walks into the empty courtroom, sure, he could have just been thinking about the court case and what he was going to do. But he's holding his Daredevil horn. The way he sits down and the way they frame that shot, they framed that almost, very similar to how he used to walk into the church to talk to Father Lantom. So I almost saw that scene as like a spiritual moment. Maybe he's sitting there praying or something. I don't know. Did either of you guys think that, or was it just
100%. I mean,
you did?
truthfully, until probably 3 or 4 seconds into it, I thought he was at the church.
Okay, so that had to
Looking
be
for-
something they were
yeah.
doing. It wasn't just
Because
me.
I was like, Father Lantom said, oh, wait, he's in the courtroom.
Yeah.
Thought he was at church. So yeah, I think they were going for that same shot just to bring it, he's having a spiritual moment, maybe not a godly moment, but an inner moment with himself. And that's why he sits down and pulls out that little horn. It's like, is it time? Is it time?
Yeah. And I think my theory about Fisk and Vanessa is becoming more and more likely. Like, my theory is that Vanessa is going to secretly pull the rug out from under Fisk, and she's going to end up being like emerging as the big bad or the boss here. And what do you know? In this episode, she kind of goes around Fisk and she gets $1.8 million for kind of repercussions for damages after that truck was hijacked. So I don't know. What do you think's going on here? I mean, she seems pretty ticked off when she has to take a back seat to Fisk.
I think she just likes that lifestyle. Fisk brought her into it. She accepted it, and now she's a part of it. And now Fisk is, I mean, truthfully, I think he's doing everything he can to somewhat stay narrow. I don't think he's beating people up. I think he's, I know at this point,
Oh, you think it's
Nathan,
just a
but
punching bag?
I think he's just hitting a wall. I seriously think
Yeah.
we're going to see, something that, some room that he goes into when he's very stressed and just works it out so he doesn't have to do anything bad. And then something's going to happen where, I think I truly believe he loves Vanessa. And even though that she's doing her own thing, I think he truly loves her, and something's going to happen where she's going to get hurt or worse. And that's what's going to flip Fisk into Kingpin again, personally.
Oh, somebody just said Swamp Thing is from Louisiana, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Nick.
So Louisiana
Yes,
has
Nick.
theirs. Louisiana. No,
that was DC.
I still think that Fisk is 100% Kingpin. He just can't personally, decapitate people with car doors anymore. So he has to hit walls. But I don't think that he's turned a new leaf at all. I think he's still a bad dude.
Yeah, and I'm
He's
not
just got to
totally
put up that
sure.
front.
I'm not totally sure if he's really capable of loving her, because he doesn't look like he's, I don't know, working with her in the same way that he did in seasons 1 and 3. I mean,
I would know.
the things that he says kind of imply that, like, my goals are more important than your goals. So I wonder, like, does he really love her, or does he just, I mean, maybe there's a limit to how well he knows how to love, which would make
Yeah.
sense, because I think
Yeah, I think
a
that's what it is.
psychologist would say he's got narcissism.
Yeah, I think he does, but at the same time, though, he's got to be in charge,
Mhm.
and that's just how it's going to be.
Yeah.
So
Maybe he's old school then. Really old school.
Well, I mean, he did. If you look at the way he grew up, I mean, what he learned, growing up was that, his father beat on his mother. Well, he's not going to do that, but he's still going to be very, very firm, very
Mhm.
controlling, because that's what he knows. So that might seem like a better relationship than, he's doing better than his dad did. So
because he won an election and his dad didn't.
good point.
Oh yeah,
Um,
he's actually redeeming his family in
Yeah.
that sense.
Do you think he still has that painting?
Oh, it's got to be somewhere. It's
Or is
probably
he punching
stashed
holes in it?
Maybe that's
Maybe.
the bloody knuckles.
I don't know. That's just a painting. I think he'd be able to get through that.
Puts
pretty
it up
easily.
on the wall, and he's just
Stupid wall.
Okay, so my final question for this episode is kind of a mystery. This kind of decides not to contact his normal contacts in the New York Times to run a smear campaign against vigilantism, right? Instead, he goes to Daniel's friend, the social media journalist. Why do you think that he decided not to go through the newspaper, where he's got people in the bag there? What do you think this is about?
trying to reach a different audience.
Younger people, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
A, B, I mean, the stats show it. There's a news station, newspaper. I mean, newspapers are on their way out. News stations, they're lucky if they get a couple 100,000 people watching them. But you go on to a online news source, doesn't matter what side, they've got millions of views.
Mm.
So I think they're kind of making a commentary where it's like, this is where more people get their news. More people get their news from Twitter than all 3 or 4 major news stations combined, or something like that. So I think it's just kind of going along with modern times that more people gravitate towards online stuff than they do TV or newspaper anymore.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's like a timestamp in the middle of the episode. So
Mm-hmm.
And I apologize, it's X now.
yeah, it's
Twitter.
X now. Yeah. All right. Well, guys, are you ready to find out next episode if Punisher is real or if he's fake Punisher?
I'm looking forward to meet fake Punisher.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fake Punisher.
Well, after whatever happens in the next episode, we're going to live stream again. So join us. We'd love to hear your thoughts and comments. And we are covering all of season 1 as a retrospective on the channel. So check that out, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching.